Hi and welcome to the channel. Today I want to talk about mobile gaming, but instead of using a smartphone, I want to focus this video only in Wear OS smartwatches. Because I have a couple of questions to answer. Is Wear OS good for gaming? And second and most important, has it evolved over the years? For this reason, and in order to see the evolution, I will be using one specific sample of each Wear OS version. A Samsung Galaxy Watch running Wear OS 3.5. A Tickwatch 3 Ultra with Wear OS 2.0. And finally, the Huawei Watch from 2015 with Android Wear. That was the old name for Wear OS. In my personal collection, I have other smartwatches, so if you like content about watches, please do let me know it on the comments. Remember Wear OS, formerly Android, where it has been developed for almost 10 years. And on 2018 it was rebranded to Wear OS with the introduction of Wear OS 2.0. But by far the most important event happened in 2021 when Samsung, one of the biggest manufacturers in the world, partnership again with Google to include their operative system into their smartwatches. But towards gaming we have to be realistic and admit that it will never be a big thing for smartwatches. The screen is too small and battery is a precious gift for a smartwatch, so the last thing you want is a AAA game running on it. Of course, there are still some passionate developers who are able to do serious emulation into Wear OS, mostly for Game Boy titles, but normally intensive gaming into a smartwatch is done via sideload that allows users to install third-party games which aren't otherwise available on the Play Store. So how do the Play Store look nowadays? If we check the one in the Samsung Watch 4, we can navigate to the gaming category and only a few titles will pop up. Definitely all these games are not intensive and there are not many of them. If I compare it with the Google Play experience on a device that was released 8 years ago, I can barely see any difference. Of course, in this watch everything runs quite slow since the processor is old and the memory is much smaller. We can see the same games as we've seen on the Samsung Galaxy Watch. Here I have some concerns about Wear OS. Besides emulation and sideload are an option, it will never help the ecosystem to grow because these options are mostly for geeks and not for a mass public. If we do quick research online, we will find lists with many other games we can't find on the Play Store because have been discontinued. Most of them were launched many years ago when developers were expecting a bump in the ecosystem. So there is no point for Google to promote the gaming category in a smartwatch when there is barely content to be shown. You can now navigate with your Android phone the specific section for Wear OS games, but you will see it quite empty. To me, the future looks promising since the current situation is extremely bad. On one hand, the smartwatch hardware, it is evolving with bigger batteries and more efficient processors, and it is not just Samsung developing great devices. For example, the new Tickwatch 5 Pro equips the latest Qualcomm processor for smartwatches and promises 80 hours of battery life. Also, this year Google will release Wear OS 4 that will also improve the battery life of the supported smartwatches. Also, same as we expand our smartphone gaming capabilities with additional hardware such as controllers, maybe there is an option for future smartphones. The idea sounds crazy, but I want to remind you that Huawei already launched a combination of smartwatch and earbuds. So considering most of the arcade games in a smartwatch are mostly based into pressing one single button, what do you think of the idea to have a specific ring that can be connected and saved and charged directly on the watch, plug it into our finger and press it with our thumbs? Please do not take this seriously, but I'd like to see what manufacturers are thinking. Gaming it is very profitable business, and I think Google should try to promote a bit more the gaming on a smartwatch. Going back to the two initial questions I raised at the beginning of the video. I don't think right now Wear OS is good for gaming, and I also don't think that the evolution has been positive for gaming, so there are a lot of opportunities here. I hope you liked the video, and I'm really looking forward to see your comments about gaming on a smartwatch, and do not forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you like content about mobile gaming. See you on the next video.